Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Griefdrums, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Ying and how you can get more consistency from this operator. How many times have you thrown a Candela into a room only to realize that no one is blind? Well, today, we're going to take a look at that. Very quickly before we get started, I stream over on Twitch 3 days a week on Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Or alternatively, you can follow me on Twitter to keep up to date with everything that's going on with the channel. Without any further ado, let's jump straight into today's video.
Fucking standing match.
Got a big window. He's
Rolling out. Lighting up.
So, as you will have seen in that previous clip, I was obviously contesting Vigil just around about here from Zulu, and he's at the bottom of the white stairs. Now, there's a couple of situations or a couple of different things you can do in this situation, and I elected to, rather than cook this and throw it so that it just lands over here and explodes at this point, that's not going to do a massive amount. And the logic behind this is if it blows up there and he's contesting that, as soon as it starts coming towards him, he can run up these stairs looking away from it, and the explosion and subsequent flash effects won't actually do anything to him. So instead, what I decided to do was use the mechanics of the Ying Candela. Now, I don't know if you know this, but if you bounce it off a wall, it will then obviously hit the floor and continue going in that direction. As soon as it hits the floor, it will carry on in that direction. So if I throw it against this floor here, it'll hit this wall and it will ride along it. Now, I'll give you a demonstration of that. See how it rode along the wall? If, however, I was to bounce it off the wall, it would start coming back this way and then ride towards this wall, and then it will go along here. So I'll show you that. So knowing the mechanics of how these Ying Candelas actually work can really change how you utilize them. Now, obviously, in the situation that we saw there, the Vigil went running up those stairs, or even the fact that he was just over there, throwing the Candela at him is going to sort of scare him into running up the stairs, and you can sort of feel that that's what's going to occur. So what I did was I actually threw it onto this wall, knowing it was going to bounce off the wall and ride up the stairs. You could see it in the video. You can see the little gadget, like silhouette, if you will, ride up the stairs. So as he runs away from it, it's going to chase him. And that's exactly what I did. And like I say, once you know how to utilize these sorts of mechanics in the game, you can see it's going up the stairs there. Now, that's going to blind anyone up there. If he was daft enough to stay here, it's probably going to blind him here as well because of where he is. He could potentially turn to face the wall, but I was pushing up. As soon as that Candela started moving, I was pushing up. So even if he's looking away to try and protect himself, I get to kill him. Or alternatively, obviously the barbed wire stopped me, but I had the opportunity to push further up. So now that we know that bouncing the Candelas off of the walls can actually get them to go where you want them to go, there are other ways you can do this. Obviously, if you bounce it off of one wall, it's going to go back the opposite way, and it's going to come over this way. It's going to roll along this wall. But if you do it high up enough, it's going to bounce off of there, and like some sort of game of tennis or something, it's going to fire back over to this wall, and then it's going to start rolling that direction. As soon as it touches the floor, then it continues going in the direction it was going. So by standing here, if I want to contest someone that's out here, rather than sort of coming over and leaning out to try and throw the Candela and putting myself in harm's way, what I can instead do is bounce it off of walls to get it to go where I want it to go, and then I can actively push behind it. Now, obviously, if you're trying to get it all the way down to Zulu, it's probably not going to work. And instead, you have to think about how you're doing that. So you could do it off of, you know, this sort of a wall. That was the worst bounce ever. It sort of bounced off of the lip of that and came back towards me. Let's see if we can get it to go again. There we go. So you can sort of figure out where they're going to go. Obviously, you sometimes get a bit of an unlucky bounce. I had one the other day upstairs. I was trying to throw it into the attic and had the worst bounce in the world. It was this section here. I was stood in trophy. I didn't want to expose myself too much over there. None of this had been opened, and I wanted to clear this bit. And as I threw it, rather than it sort of hitting there and rolling into the attic area, it hit this bit and rolled back towards me. So it was far from ideal. So you got to be careful of things like that. But you know what? This is Siege. We've always got things like bugs. I know this isn't a bug, but you sort of get my drift. Little frustrations like this are always going to be present. So you just have to kind of learn them, work around them. And you know what? It is just a learning curve. I would never throw it there again. I would be more accurate. I would try and throw it to this section here, or alternatively this section just here. Now, one thing I did want to touch on today was the ability for Ying to burn ADSs and Jaeger magpies, Wamais and stuff like that. And this is hopefully going to demonstrate it reasonably well. I guess we'll see. But very often upstairs in Cafe, you will get a shield placed over on the pixel spot just over here, and people will place a shield down, you know, potentially just a bit further back, and they'll place it sort of here with the intention of playing in this area, and then you will get Jaeger ADSs up on this wall just here to protect the shield. And the logic behind that is obviously the ADS is there. Anything that crosses sort of this line is going to get blown up before it gets to the shield. So it's going to be very, very difficult to move that person out of there. Now, one interesting thing about the Candelas, if you don't already know this, I'll go ahead and chuck this down just so you can see it here. It fires out loads of individual charges, 6 of them I believe. So with that in mind, if the Jaeger ADS is on the wall just there, and you land your Candela around about here, it's going to fire off those charges every single which way. And I appreciate a couple of them are going to go the wrong way. They're going to come over this side. But a few are going to go that way. So if you can throw one of these Candelas and land it in the right spot from the window. Let me just shut this out. It's annoying me. If you can throw it from this window and land it in the right spot so that it explodes before it hits where the shield is, you're potentially onto a bit of a winner. That'll hopefully burn any ADSs that are over there. Now, I appreciate being able to get that to there is a bit of a tricky situation, especially with Wamai on the board. Very often high elo teams are going to be playing with Wamai magnets up there. They're going to be hidden down here. They're going to be on the back of chairs. They're going to be everywhere just to stop things like that from happening. But you get the idea. You may not be able to utilize it on this particular spot every single time, but you can utilize it on other maps, on other rounds, you know, other attack sites. Obviously, if you're attacking somewhere like the reading room and you can actually get above somewhere like this, burning ADS is a hell of a lot easier because you can just go ahead and place it onto the floor and fire them through. That's going to burn all the ADSs in the room. A couple of the charges are probably still going to make it through and blind anyone that's in there. So that can be extremely handy. Fairly similar to how Fuse would normally work. One final important thing to remember when you're playing as Ying is if the enemy team happen to have a castle, you can actually go ahead and utilize bullet holes. Obviously, with a barricade, you can just go ahead and create a bullet hole through it to look into an area of the map, into a room, whatever it is you're doing. However, if they've got the castle, you can go ahead and utilize your Ying Candela on the window, and when it blows up, similar to a fuse charge, it's going to go ahead and leave a very small little hole that you can then go ahead and look through or shoot through. This is particularly handy with castle barricades, obviously, because you can hold longer lines of sight with a lot of added protection. I'm afraid that's going to be it for today's video. Hopefully there's something in there that you didn't already know, something that you can take away from the video and incorporate into your game. Ying is an operator that I've avoided for seasons. I just don't enjoy playing her because of the inconsistencies. On so many occasions, I would throw the Candelas into the room and just be unsure if people were going to be blind. And over the last few weeks, I've spent a lot of time sort of refining this operator and trying to really get to know everything about them. If you did enjoy the video, please consider hitting that thumbs up. If you don't already, make sure to subscribe. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, stay reckless and relentless.